we are excited to roll out new and improved level assessment resources to make level assessments easier. It's an Excel spreadsheet. This video tutorial will walk you through the instructions on how to populate this new tool that we have. Looking at the last sheet tab, you'll see multiple sheet tabs down here. I'll talk about them in a second. Looking at the last sheet tab, this is our results sheet tab. Results from all of the activity that we do are going to be populated here on these graphs that we have down here. Primarily looking at the graph that has the zone information here, starting with zone D, where a new circle typically is, and then the expectation or the goal is to get up to the A zone as we progress through multiple quality circle themes. Two axes that we have, the bottom axis, the x-axis, depicts technical capabilities, and it improves, obviously, as you go from 1 to 5. The y-axis here on the left-hand side improves as we go from 1 to 5. This depicts circle dynamics. Those are also shown here on the two radar graphs, the x-axis technical capabilities and the y-axis here. We'll get into those and show those results once we enter some data. Looking at the top of this sheet, this first sheet, information that should be here, the circle name, the department, the line, the team, who is assessing, who is performing this level assessment. Now it should be done by two people, the circle leader and the quality circle advisor should both be doing this assessment. The assessment should be done twice. Date of the first evaluation, so date of when the pre-assessment was done. This should be before the theme activities commence. And the date of the post-evaluation or the second evaluation after the theme is completed. In these two boxes, the zone at the start of the circle and the zone at the end of the circle just says which zone is the team in once the circle is started or that level assessment is completed the first time, and then what zone are we in after. The before and after condition are depicted by the white circle will show us the before condition. The black circle will show us the after condition. So again, we do the level assessment twice at the beginning and at the end. Here is the information for the x-axis, and then here shows the information for the y-axis. Now, as we populate some of these other sheet tabs, this tab is going to be automatically populated and it'll automatically graph everything for us. So we'll get into that. But there are 5 items for evaluation for each of those axes, items A through E on the X and items A through E on the Y axis as well. Looking at the first sheet tab, this is the instruction sheet tab. So we'll click over to the instruction sheet tab. And there's really just 3 steps on how to fill out this assessment. Before the theme activities, we're going to do the pre-assessment. Now all the pre-assessment sheets are on the orange sheet tabs, which we see down here on the bottom. The first sheet tab is the pre-versatility matrix, and you have the pre-x-axis data and the pre-y-axis data. So we'll have to fill out this information. Step 1, complete the versatility matrix first. And there's text boxes to show specifically what we're doing. I'll just walk you through those. So on the sheet tab, pre-versatility matrix, I'm going to click on that sheet tab. And inside here, this is an individual assessment of the team members that we have on our quality circle. Information on the top would be pretty standard to fill out. There is a key here, scoring from 1 to 5, 1 being has no knowledge of which item they're asking for here, all the way to 5 can teach others. Now, to score a 5, this is basically people that are up in that A zone. Very, very difficult to get to, but if that's where the team is, then that's fantastic. First thing to do is type in the name of your circle members, starting with the circle leader on top. Starting with the circle leader on top, and then the circle members, you would enter their information. You would enter their information inside here. So, of course, you're going to enter their names. So individually, this is an individual assessment based on this first category here, the 7 tools. These are 7 tools commonly used in quality circle activities. And over here, the problem solving steps. And we would score each member based on their skills. So I would enter anywhere from a 1 to a 5 inside these boxes. And this should be an accurate assessment, as accurate as it can be. I'm just going to populate some numbers in here so you can see how the formulas work. Want to take your time and do accurate assessment of individually the members of your team. And then you would do the rest of the team members. Okay, so down here you could see this column or this line averages all of each one of these fields. from the 7 tools and the problem-solving steps. This box down here averages all of the average. So we are at a score of a 1.4 for this Quality Circle team on the pre-assessment. The average score, or the team score, is a 1.4. That will automatically populate a section over here on the QC evaluation sheet. We'll show you where that is in just a little bit. Going back to the instruction sheet tab, the next thing that we do is complete the pre-X axis. So I'm going to click over here on the X axis tab, and then looking at the top of this sheet, the X-axis measures the team's technical capabilities. Select the square that best represents the whole team. So now, not an individual assessment, this is a team-based assessment. As mentioned before, on the evaluation sheet, we have categories A through E. They're listed here on the left-hand side as I'm scrolling down, A through E. And then here's my scoring scale 1 to 5 on the X-axis. Going to the right is improving. So for each one of these categories, A through E, as we go to the right, this is getting better and better. So it's as simple as selecting the box that best represents the team. So for example, category A is the QC basic concepts and problem solving steps. The first one says approximately 50% of our members know the terminology of those problem solving steps but do not understand it. That would score number 1 if this is the selection. Scoring a number 2, 50% understand but cannot implement in daily work and problem solving. So it's as simple as selecting the box that best represents the team. Let me zoom out a little bit. And you would do the same thing for each one of the categories A through E. So maybe this best represents the team. Zoom out a little bit. And the same thing for E. Now, category D, this is the result of the pre-versatility matrix. This is what it's asking for. We've already done that on this first sheet tab that we did, so we don't have to do anything further for D on the X-axis. So that's it. You just select the box that best represents the team. Going back to the instruction sheet tab, next step, complete the pre-Y-axis. And here on the pre-Y-axis orange sheet tab, it's the very same thing, except now going up is better, as you see that scale from 1 to 5 on the left-hand side going up, and our categories are A through E going across the bottom because the Y-axis is vertical. So for exactly the same thing, this is depicting the teamwork and the circle dynamics. So here you would just select the one that best represents the team. And it's that easy. So here for this one, we selected for the A, we selected a 2, a score of a 2. For B, a score of a 1. For C, a score of a 2. For D, a score of a 1. And for E, a score of a 2. Now, looking back at the instruction sheet tab, I'll scroll down a little bit more, and we can look at our pre-assessment results in this column. So I'm going to go click on the QCC evaluation sheet tab, the green one. I'll click on that one to review the results. And you can see now in this column, the current level or the pre-level assessment, it's automatically populated based on which box I selected. This one here, the 1.4, this is the total for the versatility matrix that we did. So this is one that automatically populates over here as well. What does that look like down here? We can see now on our pre-level assessment, our current level shown in the white circle shows us in a low zone D. And over here on these radar graphs, blue is the current condition of the pre-level assessment. And you can see here categories A through E. And you can see visually what that number represents. So that's it for the pre-assessment. Going back to the instruction sheet tab, next thing, we're going to set some targets. So step 2 is selecting the targets. That'll be in the target column. This will be a manual entry for this section. So consider which items you'd like to improve, enter the target scores. Now underlined, not all categories A through E need to show improvement through one theme. Maybe we need to focus on just 1 or 2 areas. We're not trying to fix everything, the entire thing. That might be a little bit too much or too lofty of a goal. So looking back at the QC evaluation sheet, that last sheet tab, we'll enter some targets inside here. This column here is our target level. This is going to be a manual entry. And we should really just focus on 1 or 2 items to improve upon. So let's say on the X-axis, this C item, use of QC techniques, summary and presentation of results of activities. Maybe I want to improve this to a 2. And all of the rest of them, let's say, are okay for now. Now the D column here, this is the versatility matrix total that's on the pre-versatility matrix. A good target is usually a 0.2 to 0.3 improvement. So I'm going to put a 1.2 7 in here to show that improvement as a good target level. Now moving down to the y-axis, again, maybe I want to focus on maybe just one item for each theme. So I'm going to focus on this item, the D, and I'll try to improve that to a 2. So we could see the targets are now graphed down here, shown in red, and we could see the areas that we would like to improve upon for each one. Going back to the instruction sheet tab, that's it for target setting. There's one other thing that we do. It's the population of the activity plan, and that is on this red sheet tab here. This basically is the beginning of creating true development, strategic development opportunities for our team members going through activities. So the instructions here, starting with the versatility matrix total, identify areas of opportunities within the team members. Assign our team members to work on a step in the QC process to maximize their development. When some QC tool development is identified, use the matrix below to see which QC step would be the best for the team member to work on. So based on our pre-versatility matrix that we have here on this sheet tab, I'll click back over to that. We could identify maybe some areas of opportunities of development for our team. Now, maybe again, 1 or 2 items is good enough for now. So let's say, for example, the circle leader scored pretty low on breaking down the problem. So they would be good to improve this score, breaking down the problem. And maybe the circle member could use some improvement on a Pareto chart, for example. So I would highlight this as a developmental opportunity. Looking at the activity plan here on this sheet tab, breaking down the problem, this is specifically who is going to work on or who is going to lead this step. An example of what this would look like is down here. So here I would say, based on my circle leader needing some developmental opportunity, I would type in circle leader. Of course, I would probably type in their name here, is going to lead this step so that they can maximize their development here. And our circle member needed some development in Pareto charts. So if I scroll down to this matrix that we have down here, you could see the tools that we have here, the 7 main tools, and there's also some new tools that we have as well. We could find the one that has the Pareto chart, and we wanted our team members to get better at Pareto charts. So specifically, which step can I assign this team member to improve their Pareto charts? If there's a circle, that means that you could use this tool on that step. If it's a triangle, maybe you can use that tool on that step. And if it's blank, you probably can't use that tool on that step, of course. So on Pareto charts, I'll look down here to see what is the best step for Pareto charts. Looks like step 2, as there's a circle here, and maybe step 7, as there's a circle here. So on the activity plan, I could assign that member that needed to do, that I wanted to improve on Pareto charts, step 2 or step 7. So I might say, maybe I'll have that team member work on step 7, not just to confirm the results, but specifically learn how to use a Pareto chart as they're going through step 7. This is going to maximize their development. This section just talks about the plan versus the actual, and here's a sample of what that might look like. And in this column, the rationale. Why are you assigning this team member to do step 7? To improve the usage of QC tools, Pareto charts would be something that I would put here in this rationale. So this is basically how you create a development plan based on the versatility matrix results. And looking back at the instructions, that's it for the precondition. So really, it's just looking at the versatility matrix, populating this sheet. On the x-axis, selecting the box that best represents the team. Y-axis doing the same thing. Activity plan, who's going to work on which step. And that's it. So looking at the evaluation sheet over here, we've already done all of the precondition. We've already set the targets. And now, looking back at the instruction sheet tab, after the theme activities are completed, then we're going to do the post-level assessment. This is done on the blue sheet tabs. And the process is exactly the same. Step 1, versatility matrix. Step 2, x-axis. Step 3, y-axis. So looking over here, let's say the activities are already completed. Looking over here on the post-versatility matrix, all of the information needs to be carried over there, although the members' names automatically carries over from the first time you did it. So inside here, you do a post assessment of the team. And I'm, of course, just throwing some numbers in here. Okay, and we can see the post assessment shows a score of a 1.5, which does show some improvement here. Next, we do the post x-axis. So we're going to select the ones that best represent the team. The post y-axis, we would do the same thing. And then looking at our evaluation sheet, let's look at the results. Results are shown in this column over here to the right. And you can see what the results would look like. Post condition is shown in the black, where the precondition is shown in the white. And also the results are going to be shown here on the radar charts with the green line. So we can see our results here. This will quantifiably show the improvement to the development of the team through level assessment activities and visualizations of them. If you have any questions, going back to the instruction sheet tab, scrolling down, if you have any questions, here's my contact information, benjamin.bettis@toyota.com. Best of luck with your level assessment population.